This is a really amazing story about an amazing woman in Miami, Florida, and her struggle to use her property to help others and to support herself. One of the ways she does this is with Tiki Huts that are a native building technique here, built by the Seminole Indians that come on her property. And she rents them out to people who otherwise could not afford to live in this area. And they use materials from her property to build the Tiki Hut, which I thought was pretty amazing. And because of the climate in Florida, it's really all the shelter that you need if you're an outdoorsy type person.
About the Tiki Hut?
About the Tiki.
Well, the reason I started doing Tiki Huts 25 years ago is because I heard that they don't need to be permitted. That the Indians have rights if they have the bloodline of the Seminoles or the Miccosukee. So in my mind, that was good enough. It didn't occur to me till code came in a year and a half ago and said your setbacks are all wrong. So that Tiki Hut has to come down. So now I'm doing them the right way, as the setbacks are right. People love living in them, and it's an income for me.
An outdoor depository.
If you want a really good story,
Yes, we're up for all the good
my
stories.
son died 7 years ago, and one of my tenants that lived here put up this graffiti in his memory. I got fined for it. In my yard, $1,200 I had to pay.
Your graffiti, yeah.
And I keep paying these fines.
Right.
That's why I chose. Actually, my treehouse was the original Tiki Hut. But because I put a roof on it, now it's illegal. You have to keep the thatch.
I see.
Now, until they came into my yard, they would have never known that because their helicopters can't see anything. They do. They search for Tiki Huts that have taken the thatch off so they can bust people.
Wow. How did the idea to start building other houses and housing out here come about?
So many years ago, actually 40 years ago, because my daughter is 40 years old. So when she was born, I came home from the hospital, and my ex-husband had a surprise for me. And we're in Miami, and it was 100 degrees, and he said, I bought you an air conditioner. And we were so excited because we didn't have to sweat, and put the air conditioning on, laid down exhausted after giving birth, woke up in the middle of the night hysterical, freaking out, turned off the AC, opened all the windows and doors and said, get rid of it. I could never live like this again. And that was the beginning of my problem.
And so the need to be outdoors spawned an idea to build an outdoor.
Many ideas that I had to figure out how I was going to do this. When I was a hippie in the 60s, with the Vietnam War and the protesting, I got a van and a dog, and I traveled around the country with the van. So I could sleep with the door open.
Very nice.
So that was, I was there. And then I came back. Then in 1986, I walked across the country from LA to DC with 500 people for nuclear disarmament with my 2 kids. They were 8 and 9. 8
and 9? Whoa. Sounds very familiar.
And it was the best part of their life. And if you talk to my daughter today, it's all she can remember about her childhood is that 9 months. Yeah.
Okay, so what is the chainsaw kicks up every time I talk?
Right.
Love that. What is the fine and the penalties for all of this? I mean, what are they trying to do?
What it's come down to now is I've paid about $12,000 in fines over the last 2 years, and it's not good enough for them. They want the treehouse down. They want that tiki hut down. I may be able to get a variance on this treehouse, but they want the electric out. They want the 2 side added rooms that I put on out. So it almost doesn't pay for me. So to take it down and rebuild it, according to permit, would probably be about $50,000. My favorite quote is Martin Luther King saying, "Our government has defaulted in their promissory note to give citizens the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And please don't tell us what our happiness is."
Yeah, that was a good, exactly spot on.
So you want to start in my house?
Sure, let's, wherever you would like to start, and we can, whatever you'd like to show us.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So this is my sweet little house.
It's a beautiful house.
And this is my desk for my popcorn company and all my rentals and everything. This is my kitchen, which...
Swing to the kitchen, okay.
See, so this is the original Tiki Hut.
Okay, so...
With a roof on.
Very beautiful.
But, you know, after 3 or 4 years, the thatch needs to be redone.
Correct.
So I didn't want to be a slave to my roof.
Correct.
So I put... When I first moved in, my adopted daughter was 11, and I thought this would be her room.
Okay.
She outgrew it, so I built that room. And this is the part where they want me to take out. So see, if I take this room out and I take the kitchen out.
So this is the kitchen.
This is the kitchen. Sweetest kitchen in the whole world.
It is a gorgeous kitchen. So
and
little RV
all I
cooking
need,
stuff.
like I said, I've cooked for 40 people in this tiny little kitchen.
Wow.
It's got a stove, a refrigerator, and a sink.
And a sink,
And they want all electric out. They want this room out.
But gas was still permitted? I saw your stove right there had propane.
No, they want the stove
This
out.
wants stove,
I
everything
said,
out.
And I said, you know, people have propane tanks with outdoor barbecues. Why is this illegal?
Right.
They're just
Because
they just want it to be.
because it's out of the box, and therefore they don't.
Exactly.
My guess is probably
Yeah, what is the square?
You probably have 130 square feet now, and then you'd be down to less than 50 by the time you got done. So.
Right. And I have a bedroom upstairs.
And a bedroom upstairs. Oh wow! So yeah, you'd be probably 200.
Yeah. And this is my son. My beautiful son. And
He's a sailor, huh?
Other daughter. I was in a park one day and I picked up a leaf and she was kissing on it. That was the most amazing moment.
That would be a moment. That's cute. So,
This is my
and you had the camera.
40-year-old and her 2 kids. This is my mother off the boat from Poland. She came with 12 siblings. 8 died on the way over from starvation.
Oh wow.
And this is a really famous picture here. This was my son protesting 35 years ago at the Crumb Center for Haitians
Oh wow.
for the abuse against the abuse of Haitians. And the guy who took that picture became famous.
The alligator tail.
Be careful, it's really tight.
Definitely. So this is your bedroom.
This is my bedroom of bliss.
Beautiful. It really is
So I can
bliss.
feel the rain when it rains.
Very nice. That's wide open, everybody. No screen there. Okay. And then clothing and a bed. So just big enough for maybe a full-size mattress and
Futon,
futon. And you sleep in here. So, well, it's absolutely beautiful.
Isn't it? I just look at my tree and my roofs, and usually I have a raccoon. And
People are they come to
they
stay.
pay my bills is really how it works.
Right,
Anyway,
exactly. Okay. So is it renting right now by chance, or do you have a...
It's all rented.
It's all rented, okay.
It's in big demand.
So we will stay. I was going to say, if you're willing
First,
to put
this is what I had on my gate as I'd come home all the time.
Unsafe property notice. Wow, okay. Excellent. Which would come in here.
Is what my first... Can you get it in here? You need the light on?
I can get it. Let's see. Oh, beautiful. Perfect. Thank you.
This is the beginning of my fame.
And then with that fame, of course.
Everybody was, and that day that it came out, I happened to be getting on a plane to go to Costa Rica.
Uh-huh.
Apparently my house was bombarded with like 50 people wanting to do a story.
Uh-huh.
And I wasn't here, so it was
Right.
kind of like, yeah.
Right.
And they were, so when I got back, it was all waiting for me. And
see.
I've been doing interviews since.
Nice. Okay. And so what did the code do?
Well, we
Mr.
thought
Code
they
at
were
that time?
intimidated.
Uh-huh.
You know, but they don't get intimidated so easily.
No, it takes a while.
It takes a while. Yeah. Yeah.
So,
And now I have this lawyer and this architect, and they're not slowing down though.
no.
You know, and I keep saying it's not about me being unsafe.
Right.
They don't really care.
Right.
And I was the safest in Hurricane Andrew in my other treehouse.
Mhm.
So it's just,
It is.
yeah.
That's really rough.
Save the treehouse, and then the back is this.
Wow.
That is so cool.
Well, thank you, darling.
Good job. Thank you.
Well, in 1970, I went to LA to become an actress,
Okay.
and I decided, somebody said to me, do you want to go to a peace demonstration at UCLA? And I went, well, I could be into peace. I was not a hippie at that time at all.
Uh-huh.
And I went with my false eyelashes and my false wig, and I showed up at a demonstration, and something resonated for me there. And I kept going back, and then I was surrounded by vegetarians, and everybody had peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, and I needed a take-along snack, so I started with the popcorn way back then.
Very nice.
And I added an ingredient every now and then. I started with nutritional yeast, which was a B12 substitute for vegetarians. And it made it cheesy and delicious, and I just kept adding garlic powder, cayenne, all of the veggies, and eventually I added the spirulina, and it became a whole meal, and 10 grams of protein in each bag. And then people started telling me for years, you should sell this. This is like $1 million seller. I never did.
Okay.
And then 7 years ago, I had a tragedy in my life. My son died. And it was to the point where I just said, how do I get out of bed in the morning? I needed a reason. So I said, you know, God's been talking to you for 30 years on this popcorn. Try to put it out in the market. And that's how that came about. Now always my dream was to have a homeless center, which this house is my women's center. They're not homeless, they all pay rent, but they are amazing women who we all help each other, and they're young women. So ultimately, my goal is not to be rich with Shawnee's Green Thumb popcorn. Ultimately, my goal is to be rich so I can set up my sailing school, which I'm a sailor, and I have been teaching kids for 4 years now. And I'd love to get kids off the street, stop drug and alcohol addiction. The popcorn is here to stop diabetes and obesity, because Cheetos and Doritos are taking over. I guess y'all know how serious the problem is. I'd love to get them off the planet. And that's where I am today with the popcorn.